talent is ruining the environment, or at least the way we think of it is. We treat talent like some kind of magical gift, something you're either born with or you're not. And when it comes to things like sewing, that mindset is actually really harmful. The truth is, sewing isn't a talent, sewing's a skill. And when we treat it like this niche, unattainable thing, we discourage people from even trying. And discouraging people from even trying directly benefits an industry that is absolutely wrecking the planet. Let me explain. I've always been pretty good at drawing. My mom noticed when I was maybe 2 or 3, and she put me in art classes. So I got even better at drawing. The more classes I took, the better I got. And my whole life for drawing, I was called talented. Anyone who saw my drawings would say, oh my gosh, she's so talented. I get it, it's a compliment, I really appreciate it. I mean, obviously I like receiving compliments from people, I'm a human person and that feels good. But here's where things kind of started to get weird. In 3rd grade, I fell in love with ice skating, and I was not a natural. I'm pretty tall. I was kind of a chubby kid. I'm not a super svelte adult. Ice skating is something where if you are short and thin and light, you're gonna do better. So I had to work really hard. I really wanted to be an ice skater. I really loved ice skating. I practiced really hard. I was running so fast trying to catch up with people who just simply were better than me. Like, there were children that were better than me even when I was getting to be a young adult. Their bodies were better suited to it. The way their brains worked, their like physical intelligence was just different than mine. I wasn't that good at it. I tried really hard, I worked really hard, but I wasn't good at it, and my coaches noticed, and you know, they would talk to me and they'd talk to my mom and they'd say, you know, you're not talented at skating, but if you work hard enough, you can stay competitive. And so I worked really hard, and I was competitive, I did compete. That kind of messed with my head because people would see me skate and say, oh my gosh, you're so talented at ice skating. Even though I knew how much effort it took, and people told me every day that like I wasn't really talented. I was a hard worker. And this wasn't being said as an insult. This wasn't cruel. This was like an accurate observation of what I was gonna have to do in order to succeed at this thing I decided to succeed at. So which was it? Like, was I talented? Was I not talented? Or is talent just a moving target? A similar thing happened a little bit later with singing. I loved singing. It didn't necessarily come naturally. I started in kindergarten and I sang in choirs through the end of high school. When you're a little kid, no one really talks about whether or not you're talented at singing. I mean, maybe some little kids are so incredible that people talk about that, but no one talked about whether or not I was talented at singing. Like, little kids like to sing, we're happy for them. But the older I got, I realized it was harder and harder to stay in elite choirs. I wanted to be in like competition choirs, stuff like that, and it was hard to get into those. I have a deep voice, I think that's pretty apparent, so I was never really gonna hit those like incredible whistle tones. And this was like the first time, I think, that someone introduced me to the concept of talent not necessarily being important. My high school choir director had this philosophy that if you can speak, you can sing. It wasn't about talent necessarily, it was about skill. Singing is like a human behavior. It's not a talent, it's something that we as people do. Like, humans sing, birds sing. We don't think of birds as talented at singing. We think of birds as an animal who sings. And I really worked at singing a lot. Eventually I got into an elite choir. I even got a small scholarship to college for singing. But once again, people just said, wow, you're so talented. And I knew that there were people in the choir that had to work a lot less hard than I did to be a lot more incredible. And at this point, when people said I was talented, the word just felt wrong because it wasn't talent. I wasn't naturally gifted at any of these things. It was hours and hours and hours of work. Maybe we all have barriers to like how good we're able to be at something. I don't know. I'm not really a philosopher. A lot of things just are skills that if you wish to learn them, you can learn them. You can learn how to sing. You can learn how to sew. You can learn how to ice skate. You have wide hips and you're kind of tall. You might not be able to jump real good, but you can learn how to ice skate. is fun. You can have fun with it. All of this seems kind of unrelated to sewing, but it is related. I make a lot of my own clothes. Some of them are genuinely pretty impressive, really beautiful. I mess up a lot. Sewing takes practice, but it's not talent, it's a skill. And I actually really hate when people refer to my skill with sewing as talent. The way I think about it, if someone cleans a bathroom really well, do we say, oh my gosh, you're so talented at cleaning? No, we probably say you're really thorough. But for some reason, sewing, people just think it's magic. That creates this mental block. It makes it seem like something that only special, talented people can do. When in reality, sewing was a basic life skill for generations. Just like cooking, just like cleaning a bathroom, it was a skill. And when we stop seeing sewing as a skill, we become completely dependent on an industry that doesn't have our personal best interests at heart, and it doesn't have the world's best interests at heart. Here's where this matters: fast fashion. A lot of people don't realize that every single piece of clothing you've ever worn in your life was sewn by hand. A person sat down, likely at a sewing machine, and they made that garment. Even in factories. That $5 sweatshirt, it was not made ethically. Like, I made the sweatshirt that I'm currently wearing, and I'm not a professional sewist. Like, that's not my full-time job. So I'm not as quick as I possibly could be. I'm likely not as quick as someone who works at a factory is. But this took me a whole day to make. So if someone wanted me to recreate this for $5, I would be like, no, I'm not doing that. I couldn't possibly. The fabric that it took to make this was more than $5. Like, finding $5 a yard fabric is like kind of a steal. So just the fabric alone, not cut, not stitched, not including threads, notions, anything, like, was already more than $5. The garment industry is one of the worst offenders when it comes to labor exploitation, environmental damage, waste, water usage. It's really a problem. The reason we keep buying into it is because we've been convinced that making our own clothes is too hard and that we're not talented enough to do it ourselves. And look, I'm not perfect. I can't guarantee that every piece of fabric I buy is 100% ethically sourced, sustainable, above board, no microplastics. But I can guarantee that no slave labor went into the sewing of the clothes I'm wearing because I sewed them. And you could too. Sewing's a skill, it isn't a talent. It's just a skill. So what's the point? I'm not saying you have to go make your entire wardrobe from scratch starting right now tomorrow, but I do think that we should challenge ourselves in the way that we think about self-sufficiency. Because when we call a skill a talent, we make it seem difficult to attain. And sewing is for everybody. You can learn how to make your own stuff. There's a lot of free resources online, including my channel, that can teach you how to get started. And I truly believe that if more people got involved in making their own garments, we could start breaking free from the cycle of fast fashion. One garment at a time, truly. It doesn't have to be an overnight change. So I guess if you've ever thought about sewing, but you're worried you just aren't talented enough or don't have the talent, I promise you don't need to be. You just have to start. I don't know if this is a hot take. I hope that this isn't particularly divisive, but I would love to hear your comments. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. If having talent is something that is really important to you, I would love to hear how you feel about what I have to say. I've been reading a lot about like gifted child burnout recently, and I definitely relate to that. I feel like I was kind of a gifted child, but I think a lot of that has to do with finding what I was good at young, and so I was able to be visibly good at things, so people were able to like ascribe talented to me regardless of how accurate that label was. You know, but now as an adult, there's a lot of things that if I'm not immediately good at them, I'm like, I hate doing this, I'm bad at this, I'm not talented, I'm a bad noodle. And that's stupid. It's so dumb when you like think about it for a second. Like, why would you expect to be naturally talented at sewing if you've never sewed or you've never had someone show you how to sew? Sewing itself is just like, it's a lot of small actions, it's a lot of attention to detail, following instructions, but anyone can do it. A couple generations ago, everyone could do it. Nothing has fundamentally changed. Happy sewing.